Welcome back to Mr. English Channel. I'm Emily, and as always, I'm super excited to be here with all of you.
Hi, Emily, and a big hello to our amazing listeners. I'm Paul, and I'm ready for another fun English learning adventure.
Me too, Paul. Today, we're going to talk about something really interesting, our daily routines, but in the past.
Oh, that sounds like fun. It's like taking a little trip down memory lane. We can share what we used to do every day.
Exactly. It's a great way to practice using the past simple tense. Before we dive in, though, a little reminder for our lovely audience. If you're enjoying our lessons and finding them helpful, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel. It really helps us create more content for you.
Absolutely. And don't forget to hit that like button if you like this episode. It lets us know what topics you enjoy the most.
And if you have any questions or just want to say hi, please leave a comment below. We love reading your feedback.
Okay, Emily. So daily routine in the past tense. Where should we start?
Well, maybe we can each share what a typical weekday looked like for us when we were younger, perhaps when we were in school.
That's a great idea. Let me think back. When I was in high school, my daily routine was quite different from what it is now. I woke up really early, around 6:30 a.m.
Wow, that's early. I used to wake up a bit later. What did you do after waking up?
After waking up, I took a quick shower and then got dressed for school. My mom always made me a big breakfast. I usually ate toast with jam and drank a glass of milk.
That sounds like a nice, classic breakfast. For me, I often had cereal or yogurt for breakfast, and I didn't wake up as early as you, maybe around 7 a.m.
Lucky you. After breakfast, I walked to the bus stop. It was about a 10-minute walk from my house. I usually met my friends there, and we talked on the bus.
That's nice. I took the bus too, but sometimes my dad drove me to school if he had time. At school, my days were filled with classes, of course. My favorite subject was always English.
No surprise there. For me, I enjoyed history and science. Lunchtime was always a highlight. We used to eat in the school cafeteria. The food wasn't always the best, but it was a chance to hang out with friends.
I remember those school lunches. Sometimes they were okay, and sometimes not so much. After school, I usually went home and did my homework.
Me too. I usually tried to finish my homework as soon as I got home, so I could have the rest of the evening free. Sometimes I played sports with my friends after school, like football or basketball.
That sounds fun. I wasn't very sporty, so I usually stayed indoors and read books or watched TV.
In the evenings, we usually had dinner as a family. My mom cooked delicious meals. After dinner, I sometimes helped with the dishes, and then I usually studied a bit more or watched some TV.
Our evenings were quite similar. We ate dinner together, and then I often spent time reading or talking with my family. I didn't stay up too late because I had to wake up early the next day.
Same here. I usually went to bed around 10 p.m. on school nights. I needed my sleep.
It's interesting how different our routines were, even though we were both students. It really shows how everyone's daily life can be unique.
Absolutely. And thinking about it now, so many things have changed. I don't wake up as early anymore, and my commute to work is very different from the school bus.
Me neither. My work routine is much more flexible now. I don't have a strict schedule like I did in school.
Let's think about weekends. What did your typical weekend look like? when you were younger?
Weekends were always special. I usually slept in a bit later, which was a real treat. We often went to visit family or friends. Sometimes we went to the park or the cinema.
Weekends were my favorite. I also slept in. I usually spent a lot of time playing with my friends. We rode our bikes, played video games, or just hung out. Sometimes my family and I went on day trips to the beach or the mountains.
Those sound like wonderful memories. It's funny to think about how our daily routines shaped us. The things we did regularly really influenced who we are today.
That's so true, Emily. And it's a great way to see how much we've grown and how our lives have evolved.
Now, let's think about some useful phrases for talking about past routines. We've been using the past simple a lot, which is key. Words like woke up, ate, went, played, studied are all examples of the past simple tense.
Right. And we also use the phrase used to, which is very helpful for talking about habits or routines that we don't do anymore. For example, I used to walk to the bus stop, but now I drive.
Exactly. Used to plus the base form of the verb is a great way to express past habits. For example, she used to play the piano every day.
And sometimes we might want to say we didn't do something regularly in the past. For that, we use didn't plus the base form of the verb. For example, I didn't used to like vegetables when I was a kid.
That's a good one. Or, he didn't go to bed early on weekends.
So if our listeners want to talk about their past daily routines, they should focus on using the past simple tense for specific actions and used to for habits or routines that are no longer true.
That's right. And don't be afraid to include details and descriptions to make your stories more interesting. For example, instead of just saying, I ate breakfast, you could say, I ate a delicious bowl of oatmeal with fresh fruit.
Great tip, Emily. Adding those details really brings the past to life.
Now let's think about some other aspects of daily routines. What about chores? What chores did you do when you were younger?
Oh, chores. Well, I had to do a few things around the house. I usually took out the trash, helped with the dishes after dinner, and tidied up my room. I didn't like doing them very much, but I knew it was important.
I can relate to that. I also had chores. I made my bed every morning, dusted the furniture, and sometimes I helped my mom with the laundry. I didn't always enjoy it, but it taught me responsibility.
That's a good point. Chores, even though they might seem boring, teach us important life skills.
Absolutely. And thinking about free time, what did you usually do in your free time when you were younger?
I spent a lot of time playing outdoors. I played football with my friends in the park, rode my bike around the neighborhood, and sometimes we even built forts in the woods.
That sounds like a lot of fun. I was more of an indoor kid. I read a lot of books, drew pictures, and played board games with my family.
It's interesting how different our hobbies were. It just shows that everyone has their own way of spending their free time.
Exactly. And those hobbies often shaped our interests and passions as we grew older.
So, for our listeners, when you talk about your past daily routines, don't forget to mention what you did in your free time and what chores you had to do. These details can make your stories even more engaging.
That's a great point, Paul. And remember to use descriptive language. Instead of saying, I played, you could say, I played exciting games of tag with my friends.
Or instead of I read, you could say, I read fascinating fantasy novels.
Adding adjectives and adverbs can really make a difference.
Now, Emily, let's think about a typical school day again. Can you describe in a bit more detail what you did during a typical school day?
Sure, I woke up, as I said, around 7 a.m. I quickly got ready and had a light breakfast. Then I took the bus to school. The bus ride usually took about 20 minutes. At school, we had different classes throughout the day, like math, science, history, and of course, English. I usually paid close attention in class and took lots of notes. During breaks, I talked with my friends, and sometimes we played simple games. Lunchtime was a longer break where we could eat and socialize. After the last class, I went back home on the bus and then did my homework.
That sounds like a typical school day for many people. What about after homework? Did you have any after-school activities?
Sometimes I did. I took piano lessons twice a week. I really enjoyed playing the piano. On other days, I just relaxed at home, read books, or watched TV.
That's nice. I also had some after-school activities. I played football 3 times a week, and on Thursdays, I went to the Scouts. These activities kept me busy and were a lot of fun.
It's good to have those extracurricular activities. They taught us teamwork, discipline, and helped us discover our interests.
Absolutely. So, when describing your past school routine, remember to include details about your classes, breaks, lunchtime, and any after-school activities you participated in.
And don't forget to talk about how you felt about these activities. Did you enjoy them? Were they challenging? Sharing your feelings can make your story more personal.
That's a great tip, Emily. For example, you could say, I found math class quite challenging, but I felt a great sense of accomplishment when I solved a difficult problem.
Exactly. Or, I loved playing the piano because it made me feel relaxed and happy.
Now let's think about weekends again. Can you tell us more about what a typical weekend looked like for you?
Weekends were a time for relaxation and fun. On Saturday mornings, I usually slept in until around 9 a.m. Then we had a leisurely breakfast as a family. Sometimes we went to the local market to buy fresh produce. In the afternoon, I often met up with my friends. We went to the park, the library, or sometimes just hung out at someone's house. Saturday evenings were usually for family time. We might watch a movie together or play board games.
That sounds lovely. My weekends were also a bit more relaxed than weekdays. On Saturday mornings, I often helped my dad with tasks around the house, like gardening or washing the car. In the afternoon, I usually played sports with my friends. We played football in the park or basketball at the schoolyard. Saturday evenings were often for watching sports on TV or having a barbecue with family and friends.
What about Sundays? What did you usually do on Sundays?
Sundays were usually a bit quieter. We often went to church in the morning. After church, we usually had a big family lunch at my grandparents' house. In the afternoon, I often did some reading or just relaxed before the start of a new week.
Sundays for me were also more relaxed. We sometimes went for a walk in the countryside or visited the museum. In the afternoon, I usually spent time preparing for the upcoming school week, like organizing my notes and books.
It's interesting how many families have similar weekend routines. It seems like weekends are often a time for family, relaxation, and catching up on things we don't have time for during the week.
Absolutely. And when you talk about your past weekend routines, Try to include specific activities and who you spent time with. These details can make your stories more engaging and relatable.
That's great advice, Emily. Remember to use time expressions like on Saturday mornings, in the afternoon, on Sunday evenings, to make your descriptions clear.
Yes, time expressions are very important when talking about routines. Other useful expressions include every day, once a week, twice a month, usually, often, sometimes, and never. When talking about past routines, we can use every day back then, once a week when I was younger, etc.
These are all very helpful tips for our listeners who want to talk about their past daily routines. Remember to practice using the past simple tense and the phrase used to.
And don't be afraid to share your own personal experiences and feelings. That's what makes language learning so interesting and rewarding.
Exactly. We love hearing your stories. So please feel free to share some of your past daily routines in the comments below.
Yes, we'd love to read them. It's a great way for you to practice your English and for us to connect with you.
So to wrap up today's lesson, we talked about how to describe our daily routines in the past tense using the past simple and the phrase used to. We shared some examples from our own childhoods and offered tips on how to make your descriptions more detailed and engaging.
We hope you found this episode helpful and that it has inspired you to think about your own past routines and how to talk about them in English.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Mr. English Channel. We always appreciate you spending your time with us.
And before we go, just a friendly reminder, if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment. Your support means the world to us.
We look forward to seeing you in our next episode. Until then, keep practicing your English and have a wonderful day.
Bye for now.
Take care.